Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Wave podcast. We are here to discuss our Emmy predictions. The Emmy Awards are going to be on Sunday. I believe it is September 15th is the actual awards. Yes, it is. Last night, the night before we recorded this, was the Creative Emmys, so we'll talk a little bit about that before we make our predictions. But I'm going to be one of your hosts. My name is Darian Zach, and we are joined with the returning Zach Miller.
I've returned.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute since you've been in the studio.
Hey,
been a busy guy, doing a lot of things, doing a lot of producing.
Doing a little bit. Hey, sometimes we talk about movies, sometimes we make them. You know, like,
that's right, bro. New Jersey Devils, dude. I love your hat. Your hat's
New Jersey Devils.
Little bit about. So we were talking before we started recording.
Yeah.
That all of our reviews for Shogun are on the channel. It was a show that you and Vinny talked about throughout the whole entire season. If you haven't watched Shogun yet, what are you doing? You should go and watch Shogun immediately. But one of the big things from the Creative Emmys was that Shogun already broke the record for most Emmy Awards for a single season of a television program.
Yeah.
Just based in the Creative Emmys. And we don't even have the
primetime
Emmys yet. So what was your reaction to that, as well as maybe some of the other awards? I know, like, some of the big standouts in terms of the nonfiction stuff. We got Jim Henson's documentary won Best Documentary. Best TV special was for Dick Van Dyke's birthday celebration when he turned 98, which was awesome. But some of the highlights of that stuff for you, and what did you feel about, especially going into the primetime Emmys, kind of Shogun's chances even more so now, coming off of what happened at the Creative Emmys?
Yeah, no, I think Shogun is just one of those shows that like stands above the rest of most of this lineup for this year's Emmys. Like it is such a well-crafted show, like beginning to end. And Vinny and I go into details so much about that, and we'd break down each episode, and there really is just so much thought put into that show that it was such a well-made, well-executed series that was a mini series. So yeah, if you haven't seen it at all, it's totally worth the watch. You could bang it out in a weekend before the Emmys happen, but it's just high caliber action, a great period piece, a great romance. Like, it's something that like we've been kind of itching to have again in TV for a little bit. Like, it has shades of Game of Thrones, and then it just has like shades of the hero gets the girl, like romance, like fantasy aspect, and that's been around for as long as cinema's been around in its own ways, and it's been recycled over the years. And I think that Shogun is just, like I said, like, it's just high caliber television. Like, you're not going to get that out of a lot of TV shows these days, and when it comes around, I think it should be awarded for that. Like, there was a golden era of like 2013 was like Breaking Bad, Mad Men, True Detective,
Thrones was on
Thrones. Like, it was an insane stacked year. This year is pretty solid. I think it's like getting up there for sure. I think, TV is always, in my opinion, been like a little bit stronger the past 5 years than most of movies. I think there's like a handful of movies that have been way above everything else, but I think TV has been dominating the landscape a bit. So this year, Shogun is my personal favorite to win a lot of these. And then, right behind it, there's great shows. But do you want to talk more about
I was going to say, I love the point you just brought up, because so much of what happened in that time, a little bit over 10 years ago, was that so many filmmakers decided that they were going to start doing longer form storytelling in that way. And that's why we're like, Shogun is a cinematic show. Like, it's a show that it was on FX, technically, like Hulu, because of their deal. But like, it could have played on HBO and you wouldn't have questioned the quality. And a lot of things happened because of what you were talking about came out around that time with Breaking Bad. Then later we got things like Fargo, which we're going to talk about because they have a new season that's nominated this year. And even giving an opportunity for something like Baby Reindeer to come out that wouldn't have been able to have the acclaim and the sort of attention drawn to it if it wasn't for some of those other shows paving the way. I think that it's not a weak year, but I think it's a top-heavy year. I think that there's a couple of shows in here that we're going to discuss that I think a lot of the awards are going to go to. And we did our live stream for the Emmys last year. We were like, oh, another one for the Bear, another one for the Bear, another one for the Bear. It's going to be the same thing, I think.
Bear and Succession last year.
Yeah, and so Succession's done. Yeah. I think Shogun might wind up sweeping a lot of the dramatic awards, but for the Bear, for context, if people don't understand this either, we talked about it on the live stream last year, but the Bear was awarded for season 1 last year
because of the
so
time and release
yes
date.
so
Yeah,
now
yeah.
this is going to be season 2 of the Bear, which everybody says is the strongest season of the show. So if they were awarded that much for season 1, I can't even imagine how well they're going to kind of clean up in season 2.
Right.
But should we jump in? Should we dive right into this?
I think so.
All
yeah.
right,
Yeah,
let's
absolutely.
do it. I will tell you the category, Zach, and then you can give a little. If you want it, you could just say what it is, what you think it's going to be. I'll give my
This
prediction.
is a
as
great
well.
game. I love this.
This is
prediction
fun.
Game.
This
yeah,
is fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we got to add some stakes to it this year.
Yeah. Okay. A money wager. A parlay.
A little parlay action.
A little parlay. All right.
Let's start with the biggest awards. Obviously, we'll start with drama series. We have The Crown from Netflix. It's going to be the last season of that show. It's going to be nominated. The first season of Fallout on Prime Video. The Gilded Age on HBO. The Morning Show from Apple TV Plus. Mr. and Mrs. Smith from Prime Video. Shogun on FX and FX on Hulu. Slow Horses from Apple TV Plus, and Three Body Problem from Netflix. For context, I have only seen 2 of these shows all the way through. Some of these shows I've seen bits and pieces from, but only 2 I've seen all the way through, and that's Mr. and Mrs. Smith and Shogun. My review for Mr. and Mrs. Smith also on the YouTube channel. Zach, where do you land with your prediction for this category and what you've actually seen from the field?
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. It's pretty light from like what I've caught up on. I really still need to see the morning show. But I'm just kind of gonna go off of what I have heard has won other awards and received accolades in the past. Like I know The Crown is like a very decorated show. That's always got a chance in this category. Shogun, I'm going to pick also for the sense that it is, it has the potential to return for season 2, but the way that they had crafted the show was for one season. So I think that's a big factor in this race of like, oh, this is only going to be around for a year potentially,
Yeah.
and then, or it's going to at least take another 2 years to make it another season.
Exactly.
So I think they're going to award it while it's hot and on the market. And The Crown, like Fallout has a good shot. I don't know if it holds up against the rest, in my opinion, but it's still a well-made show. I think Shogun has the front runner spot.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm also going to take Shogun because I like what you said, because Shogun, when it was first created, was made for the sense that it was going to be a complete story. They already announced they're going to be developing seasons 2 and 3. Who knows how long that's going to take, especially with the ending of the series, how they decide to go about that. Fallout, to me, even though I haven't watched it, I've heard good things. It reminds me of like when Mandalorian got nominated. It's like that IP driven. Oh, like it was a good enough show. Let's add it to the race. So I think it's in there for that. Again, it's always possible that The Crown has a shot, like you said, but I think they've been awarded so many times for that show that, especially in comparison to what Shogun brought to the table, and I think people liked the first season of Shogun more than the last season of The Crown. Yeah. I'm also going to agree with you and go with Shogun for that one.
All right, cool.
Comedy series. We have Abbott Elementary from ABC. We have The Bear from FX and FX on Hulu. Curb Your Enthusiasm from HBO. Hacks from HBO. Only Murders in the Building from Hulu. Palm Royale from Apple TV Plus. Reservation Dogs from FX and FX on Hulu. And What We Do in the Shadows from FX and FX on Hulu. A lot of FX on here. Good for them. Always bringing the quality. I know we're both big fans of that network. I'll start. I think it's fairly obvious, as I just kind of alluded to. It's got to be The Bear, especially if it's going to be in this category. And season 2 is one of the most well-revered and reviewed television seasons of all time. So if it doesn't win every award or almost every award that it's nominated for, I would be shocked. Genuinely. I think I would be shocking. And John Bernthal, Jamie Lee Curtis, they won at the Creative Emmys nights for guest spots in season 2. So my pick is going to be The Bear. Do you have any other thoughts in terms of maybe a spoiler in this category?
I think the spoiler, I also favor The Bear. I think the spoiler in this category could be Curb Your Enthusiasm, because if I'm not mistaken, I think this was its last season. So that is a big wrench in the mix. Like maybe they decide to continue to make Larry David their golden boy. But I would still be shocked, because The Bear, like you said, season 2 was, in my opinion, the best season so far. And that season, I think we were all anticipating since last year that this would get the highest amount of accolades.
Yeah.
So I think that Bear is my favorite. Underdog or spoiler, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I think that's a good point. I mean, again, Larry David is beloved by a lot of people for doing
he
Seinfeld
is like
and
the
Curb.
TV guy in like the last 30 years.
Yeah,
so
100%. Limited or anthology series. Now, there's one in here that I know is very near and dear to your heart. I wonder if you're going to pick it as the winner. I think it has a good shot, but it's not my pick.
It's obviously the last one.
No, we'll get to that. Limited or anthology series.
Yeah.
We have Baby Reindeer on Netflix. We have Fargo on FX and FX on Hulu. Lessons in Chemistry from Apple TV Plus. Ripley from Netflix, and True Detective Night Country from HBO. You can watch Zach and I shit on True Detective Night Country in multiple videos on our YouTube channel. Check it out now. The fact that it was nominated for so many, I'm not surprised, especially because there's always politics involved in it.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Look, man, like it's a franchise thing, I think too. You know, like I think there's other factors involved, but man, like I don't know, like somebody can't sit down with me and say that, like, especially True Detective, this show or this season deserves the recognition the other seasons did.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's the argument. But going back to your point, go ahead.
I think that you are going to pick Fargo because I know you love this most recent season. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm incorrect.
I haven't finished it.
Okay.
But
I know you liked it. From the last time we talked about
Yeah.
it, you were singing its praises. I haven't even had a chance to watch it yet, but I've heard great things. I did watch Baby Reindeer. It's very much a show of the moment, but it also won a bunch of creative Emmys. And I think that it was such a cultural touchstone that they're also going to want to award it for that in a weaker year for limited or anthology series. If Shogun winded up staying that route, obviously Shogun would have ran away with this, I feel like. But because it's not, I think the Baby Reindeer has a really great chance of sort of securing that Emmy for Netflix.
I think Ripley, personally.
Okay.
I like Ripley. I don't know if it will win necessarily, but that show is also like really well made. I mean, it was cool callbacks to the original story of Talented Mr. Ripley. They decided to do it in a neo-noir fashion. Andrew Scott is always impeccable every time.
And Steve Zalian writing that show was awesome. I mean, I love The Night Of, which he also did.
Yeah.
So
that's a really good show. Like that's a beginning to end solid show. Against these other ones, Baby Reindeer, I think, is a strong pick because it's very relevant in the zeitgeist right now. Like that show, there's like a show and a case of that every year of like, oh my gosh, this is the popular show. Like everyone just gets on board. Whether
it's like the breakout. It's like the big breakout show.
And it's either very great, like a high quality show like Squid Game, or it can just be like an okay show. Like I think Baby Reindeer was like crazy, but it was okay. Like it didn't like have any. I don't know if I will remember that show compared to other shows in my I don't know.
Okay. So are you going Ripley?
I'm gonna go Ripley.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Baby Reindeer.
I don't think you're wrong.
This is our first one we disagree on.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens.
Parlay.
Lead actor in a drama series: Idris Elba in Hijack, Donald Glover in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Walton Goggins in Fallout, Gary Oldman in Slow Horses, Hiroyuki Sanada in Shogun, and Dominic West in The Crown. I think that this is. I've heard really good things about Walton Goggins in Fallout, I think I shouldn't say any other year, but this is still kind of a weaker sort of race. But I think it's Sanada. I think that he is so captivating in Shogun and so much. I shouldn't say hinges on his performance because there's so many great performances in the show. Yeah. But Hiroyuki Sanada as the lead in Shogun is going to be my pick.
I have to agree with you too. I'd also like to apologize to Walton Goggins because I called him Walter every instance of the Fallout review. I apologize. So if that ever gets back to you, Walton, I am sorry for that. And if you don't win your Emmy, it's because of that, probably. So
I literally remember that.
And DJ told me that. I was like, oh, that is so bad. That was so bad of me. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with Sanada as well. He just like brought that home, carried the show. Like there was a lot of heavy hitters in that show. I mean, Anna Sawai too, and Shogun. We'll get to her conversation, but he was such a complete character arc, and he was so pivotal. His character was so pivotal in the narrative in so many moments that he delivered every single time. Like you felt the weight and the pressure that he was under every single instance of that show. So that was very much felt for the audience, and I think he deserves that recognition for
Yeah,
sure.
I think he's
But
gonna get it.
yeah.
We move on to lead actress in a drama series with one of the actresses you just named actually
Mhm.
being in the category. We have Jennifer Aniston for The Morning Show. We have Carrie Coon for The Gilded Age, Maya Erskine for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Anna Sawai for Shogun, Imelda Staunton for The Crown, and Reese Witherspoon for The Morning Show. I actually really liked Maya Erskine in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I think she's probably my spoiler pick. I don't think she's going to win, but she does a really great job in the series. But Anna Sawai has to be the pick for me. I mean, so much of what happens with her character, and we'll get to this because I know Vinny and I talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago. But Cosmo Jarvis not nominated for this show is
Wow.
kind of crazy. I
It
mean,
was a
there's so
supporting
many.
role.
Yes, two other actors did get nominated for Shogun, but no Cosmo Jarvis, which was kind of shocking to me. Because so much on the other side of it with Sonata's character obviously being a great part of it. Sawai and Jarvis's chemistry and what their characters kind of build throughout that show, I think is so integral to that
Yeah.
series as well. But I'm gonna go with Anna Sawai overall for lead actress.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there too, because like as much as Hiroyuki carried Shogun, she bodied her performance. Like there was so much emotional depth to what she had to go through, and I completely backed like all of her decisions in the show. Like you felt the corners that she was put into in the narrative. I mean, she was just, and like everything was so subtle sometimes in her face, and just like she was so remarkable at giving us so much with so little at the same time. And I really resonated with her performance the most. Like doing the Emmys, reviewing them is hard because we haven't seen all of these, and I haven't seen all of them. So but I feel like this was just like very talked about too, and she deserves that appeal and to be awarded for it, because like it's probably like once in a while one of these great new actors comes on the scene and they just blow everybody away. She was
Yeah.
one of them for
I
sure.
think she's going to get a lot of
Yeah.
different kinds of roles, especially coming off of that performance. And winning
Yeah.
an Emmy would definitely help that as well.
Mhm.
Now we move to the comedy side for a couple of categories. We have lead actor in a comedy series. We'll go with the nominees are Matt Berry for What We Do in the Shadows, Larry David for Curb Your Enthusiasm, Steve Martin for Only Murders in the Building, Jeremy Allen White for The Bear, and DeFaro Wunatai for Reservation Dogs. I really like DeFaro Wunatai and Reservation Dogs. I think he's another similar sort of actor, in line with Sawai that you were just talking about. That I think he's going to have a lot of really great opportunities going forward. He's actually going to be in Alex Garland's next film, which is cool, with a lot of other great young actors. But this is Jeremy Allen White's to lose. I mean, even in terms of like, I think there's an outside chance that Curb could potentially win Best Comedy Series. I don't think Larry David would be sniffing the award in comparison to what Jeremy Allen White was able to do as Carmi in the second season. So
Oh yeah.
he's definitely my pick.
Yeah. I have to agree there too. Like to me, all of these other actors were great, but they're not doing the caliber of just his performance was, there were so many levels to that, and the writing in The Bear is sets itself above a lot of these shows too, with just, you know, how they give so much room for the actor to play around with all of these emotional heavy hitting points and stuff like that. So season 2 as well, like that was just so much going on for his character, and I agree. It's his award to lose. Like I think Steve Martin and Larry are kind of the like Streep like nomination in this category. Like Steve has been nominated, I think, almost every season for Only Murders.
Yeah.
And he's had such a storied career too. So, you know, it's I think it's Jeremy's year again. Didn't he win last year as well?
Yes,
For
he
the
did.
first
I think
season?
it's weird with the Bear, and we've talked about this too. But the Bear it plays cheat code a little bit because
Yeah.
the Bear is a comedy, I guess,
Mhm.
but there's so many dramatic moments that elevate what the performers are able to do with the material more than a sort of a straight comedy.
Mhm.
That I think as long as the show is nominated, unless we get another sort of revolutionary comedy series that wins every single year. Like this is what's gonna keep happening. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, and it's another one of those things like the Golden Globes, they do those mislabel things
Yeah.
where like this is, I guess, a comedy, like you're saying, like but it is fundamentally a drama. Like there's hilarious moments, but I don't think it's comedy,
Yeah.
and that's at its core at all because there's
Exactly.
so many like problematic situations. But that's a whole nother review.
Yeah,
So.
it's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Lead actress in a comedy series, we have Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary, Iowa Debris for The Bear, Selena Gomez, Only Murders in the Building, Maya Rudolph for Loot, Jean Smart for Hacks, Kristen Wiig for Palm Royale. This is the hardest category for me thus far because I actually think it could be between literally 4 different actresses. My pick is going to be a Debris. I believe she did win last year. She might have won the Golden Globe. Actually, I think Quinta won last year. And I think they're going to award a Debris because she has some really great standout moments in season 2. But I think that Selena or Jean Smart could also play spoiler. Jean Smart also won for this category a couple of years ago for season 1 of Hacks. There's going to be for season 3. And Selena, there's just a lot of momentum behind her right now, not only because of this, but again, if you want to get like the political side of it, it's like she may get nominated for an Academy Award this year for a supporting role in a film that she was just in that is hitting all the festivals, Amelia Perez. So that might be another part of it that sort of lifts her above the rest of the crowd. But I still think because we're talking season 2 of The Bear, I'm going to go with Iowa Debris as my pick.
Yeah, I'm going to match that also because I haven't seen the rest of these actresses. I know like they're all very talented. I know Jean Smart is like just phenomenal in everything she's in. I think that she could be the spoiler maybe. But I've only seen bits of Hacks, so I can't really speak on her performance as a whole. But I would say Io and then Jean as a spoiler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to limited series or anthology, lead actor in that type of show. We have Matt Bomer in Fellow Travelers, Richard Gadd in Baby Reindeer, John Hamm in Fargo, Tom Hollander in Feud Capote versus the Swans, and Andrew Scott in Ripley. Another tougher category, I think, between a couple different performers. But I saw one scene in Fargo because my brother was watching it. He's like, you got to see this scene. And it was John Hamm. And he's made for the Fargo universe that was created by Noah Hawley. That I think it would be a mistake to not award him for how kind of all out he goes in this world. Based on the other performances I have seen. Now I've seen 4 of the other performances, in 3 of the other performances in the category. Richard Gadd, again, he did a great job with what the show is, but I don't think his performance is anything to write home about. Tom Hollander does an okay job as Truman Capote. Phyllis Seymour Hoffman did it better. And Andrew Scott is good in Ripley, but I just think that John Hamm's performance is also just a little bit showier, and I think he's going to be awarded for it. So John Hamm is my pick for Fargo.
I'm gonna flip again. I'm gonna go Andrew Scott.
Wow, you really liked Ripley, dude.
I just think that like that is a little bit being slept on, like by some of the general public. Sometimes award shows do that. If they're like, oh, this is what the Academy does, or this is what the Emmys want to do. They just like they pick their show and then they run with it. Fargo has like been robbed in the past. Like they've been awarded in the past, but they've also like been robbed on a lot of their best work, I think sometimes. So it could be surprising. I don't know. I do think Andrew is so good in anything that he's in.
He's a great actor.
He has a strong case, but John is awesome. There's no refuting like he is great in that show. I just think that it's could be Andrew. Be Andrew.
I like that. We're switching it up.
Yeah.
Lead actress in a limited series or anthology. We have Jodie Foster in True Detective North Country. Yeah.
Night Country.
Night Country. I didn't have that one fully written out. That shows you how much I care
your
about
favorite
the show.
show?
Yeah, it's fucking whatever. Brie Larson in Lessons in Chemistry, Juno Temple in Fargo, Sofia Vergara in Griselda, and Naomi Watts in Feud Capote versus the Swans. I've heard great things about Juno Temple and Fargo. But again, I haven't watched the series. I just saw that one scene of Mr. Hamm. so I can't talk to it directly. I did a review with Liz on the channel for Griselda, which is a Netflix show that was released early in the year. A very slept on, underrated crime biographical drama, and Sofia Vergara completely disappears as Griselda
Yeah.
Blanco.
Okay.
I don't know if she is gonna win, but it's one of my favorite performances across film and television for the whole year, and so she's
Really?
gonna be my pick. I don't know if she's gonna win, but I would love to see the Emmys award her somebody that was so pigeonholed in like Modern Family, playing this sitcom mom and just doing something entirely different with Griselda. So she's gonna be my pick.
Okay. I think you have a strong case for that. I just from what I know and what I've heard about Brie Larson and Lessons in Chemistry, I think that's a strong pick. And then I did like I got to like the midpoint in Fargo, but Juno is like one of my favorite characters in that show. Like she's really good. And honestly, there was a point I had to look her up. I was like, wait, this is the same actress? I was like, yeah,
Did you
that's
watch Ted
crazy.
Lasso?
No, I haven't
So
seen
yeah,
it
so
yet.
that
So, but I've seen Juno and some other things, and
Mhm.
I was like, wow, okay, yeah, she really disappeared into that. So
Mhm.
I think it's for me between Brie and Juno. I haven't seen Griselda, but you told me good things. So
All right,
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
yeah.
Supporting actress in a drama series, we have Christine Baranski in The Gilded Age, Nicole Beharie in The Morning Show, Elizabeth Debicki in The Crown, Greta Lee in The Morning Show, Leslie Manville in The Crown, Karen Pittman in The Morning Show, and Holland Taylor in The Morning Show. This is between The
Whoa,
Crown and The Morning Show, essentially.
that is crazy.
I mean, 4 nominations for The Morning Show and 2 for The Crown in a category of 7 actresses is crazy. I don't know if we've seen any of these, so I think we're just gonna go with guesses.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna go with Debicki because I'm pretty sure that she was awarded the Golden Globe for
and
her
she played
performance
Diana,
as
right?
Princess Diana in the final season of The Crown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's gonna be my pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's gonna be my pick too.
All right, moving on because we have nothing to talk about with those.
I wish I could.
Supporting actor in a limited series or anthology, we have Tadanobu Asano for Shogun, Billy Crudup for The Morning Show, Mark Duplass for The Morning Show, John Hamm for The Morning Show, Takahiro Hira for Shogun, Jack Loudon for Slow Horses, and Jonathan Pryce for The Crown. Still a lot of Morning Show, but we split it up a little bit more. I will say, and he was awarded for season 1, and I'm way behind on The Morning Show. Billy Crudup in The Morning Show is fantastic, but he's already been awarded, and I still think the trend is going to continue with Shogun. And Tadanobu Asano is a very fun character in the show. He has a lot of things going on with his character, and he also adds a little bit of comedy to the series. He plays I want to get his character name right. Kishigi Yubashige.
Oh
In
yeah,
the series.
Bushiye.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
He was great.
I think that, and he was getting a lot of acclaim coming out of the series, maybe the most besides Anna Sawai. So he's going to be my pick for supporting actor.
Yeah, he was. I think like my outside of the main characters, he had my biggest interest because he was flipping on all of the main characters so often. Like you couldn't trust him the entire show. You didn't know what his motive was, and I felt like he really gave life to that performance of like this slimy guy. He was just power hungry, and he always wanted to be on top with the winner. So if he played both sides, he can't come out on, or yeah, he can come out on top.
Yeah.
So I liked what he gave to that performance. I thought he was great. Yeah. So I wish I saw The Morning Show because like it's another show that I've heard is like all driven by these great performances, but I haven't seen it. And like you said, I heard Billy was great, so I'm gonna go between Billy or Tadanobu.
Okay.
So
let's move back on to the regular series. We have supporting actress in a comedy. We have Carol Burnett, one of the oldest nominees ever for Palm Royale.
she was in a show.
Yes,
Wow,
she was.
that's
And Liz
so cool.
Liz saw Palm Royale, so we'll have to get her thoughts on that show overall. That was actually her most anticipated show of the year. Remember when we did that a while back? Me, her, and Vinny did that episode. Liza Colon Zayas for The Bear, Hannah Einbinder for Hacks, Janelle James for Abbott Elementary, Cheryl Lee Ralph for Abbott Elementary, and of course Zach's favorite, Meryl Streep for Only Murders in the Building. I mean, there's always a chance when Meryl Streep is in a category that she could just win because she's amazing in everything she does. But from the review that Mikey and Liz had done, they said that she was kind of just put in the show because she's Meryl Streep. Very similar to what they did with Paul Rudd. Liza Colon-Zayas is great in The Bear, but I think that her biggest showcase episode is in season 3. So I think that there's a really good chance she gets a win next year. I think it's great that she was nominated. Janelle James in Abbott Elementary, she's one of the only performers that hasn't been sort of recognized for her work in Abbott yet. And I think that Ava is growing to be a lot of people's favorite character in that comedy sitcom on ABC, NBC sort of model. And usually all those actors usually get one award at some point. So Janelle James is going to be my pick. And I think she's going to take it home this year.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
No, I think I'm gonna say Carol Burnett because they like to award legends like that. Even Meryl Streep, like, you know, there's been a couple Oscars that more than a couple. She's been nominated,
I think 11 times
for a ridiculous amount of times,
crazy.
And not all of them have the same weight as her earlier work and, like, you know, some of her best work. So I think it's possible that Carol could like sneak in and take it. I don't know. I think that you make a good point with Janelle being awesome in Abbott, and they do love that show too. So they do love awarding that show. So I think it's between Carol and Janelle.
Burnett's a good guess though. She's 89.
Wow.
Which is insane.
Just a TV legend.
It is
in her own right, like own tier. It's crazy.
Hey, she's unbelievable. We got 3 awards left, so let's speed through these. We got supporting actor in a comedy series. We have Lionel Boyce for The Bear, Paul W. Downs for Hacks, Eben Moss-Backrack for The Bear, Paul Rudd for Only Murders in the Building, Tyler James Williams for Abbott Elementary, and Bowen Yang for Saturday Night Live. I selfishly would love to give this award to Lionel Boyce because I don't know if he's going to have a chance. One, I don't think he's going to be nominated for season 3 because I don't think he had enough to do. And he had his own aside episode in season 2 that is so great. Probably one of my favorite episodes in the series overall.
Which one does he play again?
He plays the I can't think of his character name. Marcus, thank you.
Marcus.
Marcus is his character name. He's the baker. Yeah. And the pastry chef, I should say. And he's tremendous. He has his episode. I think it's in Denmark, right? Is that where he goes? Yeah, Denmark, right? And that one of those countries. But he does a great job in that episode. But also Richie is great in season 2. Mm-hmm. And Eben was awarded last season, and he has a stronger season in season 2. So it would be hard to argue against Eben getting the award. So, but I also think that Boyce has a shot, and I also think Tyler James Williams has a shot because he won the Golden Globe, I think, last year. Yeah. So it's a tough category. I think it's between those 3, but I'm gonna go with Eben.
I'm gonna go with Eben too, because like you were saying about Liza for next season, I think Eben, like we were saying a year ago, like that he was the front runner. We were like, this guy, like his arc in the show alone and how he played to the arc was like above, I think, the rest of these guys, you know. Like he gave so much depth to that performance, and he went from a pretty very unlikable douchebag from the beginning of the show, and then season 2 comes around, he has to reshape his whole persona, and for Eben to disappear into almost 2 different personas that whole season, like, to me it's a no-brainer, I think, but you know, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So,
no, he's great. I mean, he's great in the show. I can't even argue it.
Yeah.
He's probably my favorite character in The Bear. So it would be nice to see him rewarded. He was awarded last year, but you know, there's a really good shot he wins it again. Last 2 awards, we have supporting actress and then supporting actor in limited series and anthology. We'll start with the supporting actress: Dakota Fanning in Ripley, Lily Gladstone in Under the Bridge, Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer, Agent Naomi King for Lessons in Chemistry, Diane Lane for Feud, Neva Mao for Baby Reindeer, and Callie Reese for True Detective Night Country. I've been seeing ever since Baby Reindeer came out that everyone is already telling Jessica Gunning to essentially get ready to put her name on her Emmy. And because the talk has been that strong for her performance, regardless of what you think about a lot of these other performers that I think are great in their series of the ones that I've seen, it is her award to lose. I think it's almost the next to Shogun winning Best Drama Series. I think it's probably the second biggest odds in which I can't see anybody else really winning this award other than Jessica Gunning and Baby Reindeer.
She's the lead, right?
She's the
Yeah.
the stalker in the series.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, there's really against this list of people, it's very hard to see otherwise. I think too.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go.
She's
with
great
her.
in the show. She's by far the best performance in the show, in my opinion. I don't know how
Yeah.
you feel about it.
Oh yeah, I mean she sells the entire effect like of the stalker. Like if it was a mediocre performance, it would be like just an okay show.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the layers that she adds to the stalker and her eeriness and like just so
Oh my god, that laugh, dude,
out in the
is like ingrained
oh
in my
my
brain.
God.
It's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm getting, like, the
exactly.
chills thinking about it.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, this is just a disgusting situation.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, for her to nail that is really commendable. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're both going with Gunning as we go into the last category. I feel like we're going to have the same pick for this one as well. Supporting actor in a limited series or anthology series. We have Jonathan Bailey for Fellow Travelers, Robert Downey Jr. for The Sympathizer, Tom Goodman Hill for Baby Reindeer, John Hawkes in True Detective Night Country, Lamorne Morris in Fargo, Lewis Pullman in Lessons in Chemistry, and Treat Williams getting posthumously nominated for the latest season of Feud. I'm going to go Robert Downey Jr. because of a couple things. One, regardless of whether he's there at the ceremony or not, they would love to award Robert Downey Jr. Why would they not want to do that? He also plays, I think it's 6 or 7 different roles in the show.
Yeah.
And they also love showy performances. I mean, all academies do, right? You're talking Academy Awards, you're talking about all that stuff. He's coming off an Academy Award for Oppenheimer, and the momentum is hot. He just got recast back in the MCU as Doctor Doom. So it seems like the perfect time to award Robert Downey Jr. And based on the performances I did see from the rest of this category, which isn't many, I just think, and I haven't even seen The Sympathizer, but just based on what I've seen from what he was able to do and how much he shepherded this series and played all those different characters, I would be shocked if he didn't win the category.
No, yeah, I agree. And that show was I didn't finish that show either, but I mean, how many times are you going to have an actor play 6 or 7 roles in a TV show and then disappear into each of those archetypes? Like it was pretty crazy. So yeah, and then there's the momentum. He's coming off of a hot streak with the Oscar, and he's now about to do his Marvel return. Like the guy is on such a high. Like I thought his career was already peaking like 5 years ago, but now he continues to find new ways to challenge himself. So, I mean, Oppenheimer was a great like return to like the cinema movies, and then now he did like an HBO limited show playing 6 roles. Like that's just crazy ambitious, and he pulled it off. So I think if he wins here, then he's like really showing that I can do almost anything I want. And then I mean, even if he doesn't win, but he can do that. But still, I think that is like how they're framing his momentum in a way. So I think he's got a good chance for a lot of reasons.
Yeah,
like you were saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that is it. We made it through the whole list. Those are our primetime Emmy predictions for the 76th award ceremony. That is going to be airing September 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. It's hosted this year by Dan Levy and Eugene Levy, which is fun to do a father-son combo. I think it'll be a good one to tune into. We unfortunately will not be going live this year for the Emmys, but we will have our recap of the awards the following week. So be sure to check that out. And let us know in the comments, what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to take home a lot of the awards? Do you think Shogun and the Bear are going to run away with everything and Baby Reindeer maybe for limited series? Or do you guys have other shows that you are passionate about that you think deserve a shot at winning some of these, whether it's Hacks, Abbott Elementary, The Crown, whatever it may be? Be sure to let us know in the comments below what you guys think, and be sure to give this video a like if you can, and subscribe to us because we are the Culture Wave Media Network. We cover all things film and television, and we have a lot of other exciting stuff coming for you guys, including our Beetlejuice review, which is up on the channel now, so be sure to check that out as well. Just signing off, I am Darian Scalamoni.
I'm Zach Miller.
And we'll see you guys next time.
This is The Culture.